In this video, I'll show you how to build an automatic dog treat dispenser using an Arduino. You can program it to automatically dispense treats at certain times of day, react to sensors that detect your dog's presence, or even train your dog to push a button. Here's how the device works. The compartments in this hopper up at the top are preloaded with the food or treats. A servo motor rotates the compartments one at a time. The Arduino uses a real-time clock to keep track of the time, and for the sake of demonstration in this video, I have the motor programmed to rotate once every 15 seconds, although for a real project you would probably space that out much further throughout the day. As each compartment rotates, it goes over this hole in the cardboard, so the treats can slide down a ramp into a tray at the front. Now obviously this whole thing is just made out of paper, so that works well for a demonstration at a science fair, but it would not be good for your pet to eat out of this directly because the slobber would pretty quickly ruin the paper. So if you want to use this for real at home, you can either place it up high on a counter or a shelf where your pet can't reach it so it can drop the treats down below, or you would have to build something out of sturdier, more washable materials. After it has rotated all of the way and dispensed all of the treats, on the next cycle I will get a notification to press the button to reset, at which point it will rotate back to its original position and I can load it up with treats for the next day. Let's take a look at the mechanical design. If we pop the servo horn off the motor, you can see that I have made the compartments just by gluing together popsicle sticks at roughly 45-degree angles to make 4 different compartments, but of course you could space them out differently to make a different number of compartments. Those are hot glued to the servo horn, which presses on to the motor shaft here. The servo motor itself has the shaft sticking through a hole cut in the cardboard, but the motor is glued to the underside of the cardboard. I've made legs to hold the platform up just out of rolled up tubes of cardstock, and also made this ramp out of cardstock and taped it on to come down into the tray at the bottom. Again, all of that works as a demonstration, or if you are using this for humans for something like to dispense medication or candy that isn't going to get the paper messy, but you would not actually want to use a paper tray for your pet to eat out of. You would either want to make this out of washable material, or again put it up high where your pet can't get to it so the treats drop down below. Let's zoom in to take a look at the circuit. Now this is kind of a messy, busy circuit on the breadboard here, so it's hard to see all of the connections in this video, but you can go to the link in the description to get a much cleaner version of the circuit diagram along with a parts list if you would like to build this yourself. So here I'm just going to go through an overview of the parts and what they're for rather than going through each individual connection. So we have a potentiometer that adjusts the contrast on the LCD screen. The LCD screen is really only necessary if you want a readout of a time and the instructions like press a button to reset. You don't need the screen if you don't care about that. A lot of these connections are for the screen going over to the Arduino. I have that reset button, and then I also have an LED and a buzzer that were not used in my demonstration, but for example, if you wanted to sound a buzzer to alert your pet that the treat has been dropped, you could use the buzzer as well. Now, I have this demonstration program to dispense treats automatically at certain times, but the great thing about using an Arduino is that they are compatible with such a wide variety of sensors. So, for example, if you want to train or reward certain behavior, this lets you customize your treat dispenser to do that automatically. You can use anything from a motion detector to a distance sensor that will measure how far your pet is in front of something, to a magnet sensor that can detect a magnetic tag on their collar. So there are lots of different ways you can detect your pet's presence. You could teach them to touch something, so pets don't have fingers like humans. It's a little hard for them to push buttons on a breadboard like this, but you could buy a larger button, teach your pet to press the button. You could use a microphone to detect sound. There are tons and tons of options for how you can customize this project. So rather than showing you all of those different options in this video, what I'm going to do is switch over to the computer and demonstrate the code for dispensing the treats at certain times, but you can find tutorials for all of these different sensors in our Arduino tutorial playlist linked in the description of this video, and you can then customize the code to use a different sensor if you want. But for now, let's switch over to the computer and take a look at the code for dispensing the treats at certain times using the real-time clock. Here's the code. Remember that you can download it from the link in the description, and you may need to modify it depending on the changes and customizations you make to your treat dispenser. So going through this line by line, at the top here, we include several libraries. You need the servo library to control the servo. You only need the liquid crystal library if you are going to include that liquid crystal display. And I should note that I am using an Arduino Uno R4 Minima here, which has a built-in real-time clock. If you are using a separate external real-time clock module, we have a tutorial for an external module from Adafruit linked in the description of this video in our playlist, then the code will be different. The code in this video is specific to the internal RTC on the Arduino R4 Minima. We then create a servo object that we are going to refer to using the servo library. I define some constant variables for the pins I have different things connected to, and some other variables for keeping track of the angle, the state of the button if you use one, and some delays to slow the servo down, and debounce or wait if you are using the button so you don't accidentally detect multiple button presses if you hold the button down. I also have time variables for keeping track of the different units of time: year, month, day, hour, minutes, and seconds. That is assuming you are using the real-time clock. Again, if you are going to modify the code to make the motor react to a sensor instead, then you don't need to keep track of the time and you don't need to worry about those. There is some code based on the LCD library to tell the display which pins you are using to communicate with the Arduino. Again, so you only need this part if you are using that liquid crystal display. And then we get into the setup function, where I have pin mode commands to set different pins as inputs or outputs. For example, the button is an input, the LED and the buzzer are outputs, and we tell it which pin the servo is attached to, set the initial angle for the servo, and initialize serial communication, which is always useful for debugging. We set up the size of the LCD, the number of columns and rows, and then here is code to initialize the time for the real-time clock. And again, this code is unique to the built-in real-time clock on the Arduino Uno R4 Minima, where you have to manually set the time right before you upload the code. So there are other third-party modules that will automatically get the time when you compile and upload the code. Here, you need to remember to change this each time you upload if you want it to be accurate. But again, if you are using a different real-time clock module, this code will be different. In the loop function, I call a function that is going to update the LCD screen. I will show you that later. We print the angle of the servo to the serial monitor. That is useful for debugging. And then here is really the key part of the program. So here is where I am detecting certain times. So I have an if statement that says if seconds equals 0, or that's what this double vertical bar here means, seconds equals 15, or seconds equals 30, or seconds equals 45. So this isn't necessarily the most efficient way to do this. I could have divided by 15 and checked the remainder or something, but instead I just wrote out all 4 possible conditions. So I am going to rotate the servo once every 15 seconds. And this condition is what you would change either if you are using the real-time clock and you want to make this happen at different times of day. For example, if you want to detect 9 a.m., you could write 9 and, that's the double ampersand here, minutes equals 0 and seconds equals 0. So you probably don't want to give your pet treats every 15 seconds. You would want to change this to maybe dispense meals twice a day or something like that. So again, this is just for purposes of demonstration for what I'm doing in this video. You need to change this to the times of day you want to dispense the treats. Or if you are not going to use the real-time clock at all, you are going to use other sensors instead, then you would need to add your code up here to read values from those sensors and change the condition in this if statement to depend on those sensor readings. Again, I am not going to demonstrate that in this video because we have tutorials for many different sensors linked in our playlist in the description of this video, so you can go check out those videos to learn how to use different sensors. So whatever this condition is, whether it's the real-time clock or something else, assuming that condition is true, then inside this if statement, we're going to set the new angle variable equal to the current angle plus the angle increment. We're then going to check as long as that new angle is less than 180 degrees, we are going to slowly increase the servo angle to the new position using this while loop. So if you just use a single servo right command to go to the new angle, the servo motion will be very fast and jerky, and that's probably not good. So instead, we use a while loop to just increase the angle 1 degree at a time and include a short movement delay, so that lets us slow the servo down. So we keep going until the angle reaches the new angle, and we've moved the servo to the next position. But note that there is an else statement here, and that will detect if the new angle is actually greater than 180 degrees, then that means we can't rotate any further, and we are going to reset to the initial position. So we have another while loop that does the same thing, except this time we are decreasing the angle by 1 degree at a time until it equals 0. And again, we have a delay in there to slow the servo motion down so it is not too jerky. So again, to recap, the code is going to loop through here, and each time it detects one of these times, the seconds is 0, 15, 30, or 45, it's going to increase the angle by my angle increment variable, which I should have mentioned if I scroll back up. I have set to 45 degrees in this program because I built a hopper with 4 compartments, but if you have more compartments, you could decrease this angle to move in smaller increments, or if you only have 2 compartments, for example, you would increase this to 90 because the servo has a range of 180 degrees. So if you build something with a different number of compartments, you would need to adjust this angle accordingly. So I'm going to loop through. Each time I detect one of these times, I increase that angle, and then once I've gone through the full 180 degree range, I'm going to reset back to the initial position. I have a wait for button press built in here before it will start again. So we display a press button to restart message on the screen, and then we have this single line while loop where the code is just going to get stuck in this loop until I press the button. So digital read button pin equals low will be true when the button is not pressed, so the code will just be stuck in this while loop that does nothing. But the moment I press that button, this statement will become false because digital read button pin will equal high, so this statement will now be false. It will break out of the loop, clear the screen, and keep going. I then have 2 more functions down here that just help me keep the code in my loop a little cleaner. One is an optional function to flash the LED and sound the buzzer when the motor moves. So if you want an audible alarm, so you alert your pet to the food being dispensed, you could use the buzzer for that. So this is a loop that just blinks the LED and the buzzer on and off a certain number of times. You can call that function from up here if you want to do it, where the inputs are the number of flashes and the delay or duration of each flash in milliseconds. But I have that commented out because I didn't want to use it in this video. I then also have a function for getting the time and updating the LCD screen. So I'm not going to go through this in too much detail because we have separate tutorials about the real-time clock and the LCD, but I get the time from the clock, store the time in these different variables that I created earlier, and then have a bunch of LCD print commands, first to print the month, day, and year, although you could rearrange that for different date formats, and then to print the time in hour, minutes, seconds format. Remember that for written instructions for this project, including the parts list, circuit diagram, and example code, you can check out the link in the video description. For over 1,000 other projects in all areas of science and engineering, check out our YouTube channel and our website, www.sciencebuddies.org.